actually right now. And I think the more that we kind of get out of our own head, we can get out of our own way and be exactly who we're supposed to be now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
The comparison stuff was my biggest journey as a creator, because when I started, probably the first 5 years, I was just comparing my views versus someone else. Just do that over and over, and I would get in my head, and it was just terrible. Because there's always someone who's getting more views than you. You know what I mean? It's never a good path. So I try to focus on impact, not views. Like, am I making the impact that I want? And I try to focus on my craft. Like, how can I improve my art? How can I write better scripts? How can I make better videos? Keep trying to do that and focus on the impact you're having on your community and not the views. And then the views will come. Just don't worry about that.
Yeah, I agree with what all of you are saying. I'm not a content creator, but at YouTube, you see it all the time, people comparing themselves, and they're asking me for advice of like, how do I do this? And I'm like, if you're chasing, the algorithm and all these views, you're gonna be chasing like forever, and then you're gonna burn out. So I definitely recommend taking a break and not comparing yourself. But, so for usual content, not for you, Dr. Ali, but Swoozie, Berleezy, Lizzie, have you found a way to talk about mental health or well-being in a way that feels natural? And we'll have Dr. Ali follow up with tips as an expert for doing that as a content creator. So have you guys found a way? Swoozie, I know you have your video where you talked about ADHD. Berlin, I know you've talked about it kind of, on your podcast and in live stream. Lizzie, you sing about it, but have you found other ways that are natural to you?
I have this thing where, and you'll see it at the con, obviously it's a bunch of us here, but at the end of the day, we're all people working on our craft, doing what we need to do. So I find it that whenever I step foot, I always try to come into an awareness that this person in front of me is on their own journey. And it's just having an understanding of where they're at. And whether it's good or bad, we could talk about it. Sometimes I'll see people having anxiety. I'll be like, Bree, we can have this moment. We can, you know what I mean? And just always being present, like Berlin said, that's step one. And two, just in everyday conversation with every single person I meet, I try to tap in and see how to make that person's life better moving forward. I'm a everybody's girl, y'all. Sister, for my guys, I'm really trying to make sure we all eat, we all get what we want done in this world, you know what I mean? So shout out to everybody out here working on their craft and making it to this panel, so thank you for supporting us.
I try to do it with humor. There's a lot of undertones, sometimes it's overtones. I don't want to beat you over the head with it. If every time you come to the video, it's like, okay, here's a lesson. How do you do it? You wrap the medicine in sugar. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I mean, essentially every single one of my videos is talking about some kind of bettering this, bettering that. I bumped my head on this so you don't have to. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this now, and probably I change the lens that you can look at the videos, but I'm trying to be the big brother that I never had. Yeah. So we're all on a journey. You have your struggles, you have your struggles, I have our struggles. We all act like we know what's going on. I mean, even coming down to outfits, like I'll act like I know what's going on, but I was stressing out in the hotel room, like, okay, do these shoes go with this? I mean, before I even packing in the suitcase, we're all struggling with something. So I understand as a human what that experience is like. So when I make my videos, I'm trying to connect with you guys, and I think that's why people mess with me on the level they mess with me with, because this dude gets it, and when I'm talking directly to you. I'm not talking to the faceless sea. I'll sit here. Hey, the guy that's on the corner that needs a $5 or needs some money for Chick-fil-A or Chipotle, I'm gonna pull over it. Hey, bro, you're hungry? Cool, I'll be right back. Do you like hamburgers? Yes. You eat meat? Cool, I'll be right back. We're all going through it. So whether it's helping to do it on the corner or me saying some advice that I messed up over here, so now you don't have to. It's in every video, disguised in humor.
I mean, I would agree with both of what they said. I think, I do have the podcast where I can be a little bit more literal with the things that I'm reading or the videos that I've watched that have helped me out. But as far as my channel, yeah, it is disguised as humor too. Like, I'll take a character, for example, from a game I'm playing and really try and tap into what they may be feeling to relate it to how, I would feel, or like, there's just always opportunities to share some kind of positive energy, and yeah, I would just echo what both of them said.
I just got to share a story, Lana. I'm so glad you mentioned how anxious you were about your outfit, because I was stressed when I showed up a few hours ago. Because I'm like, man, I'm so overdressed. Why did I not wear my Mario Kart t-shirt? I should have worn my Mario Kart t-shirt. And then someone just said, hey man, I like your shirt. And I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna stick with this, you know? And I just love the idea of like, how can we just be the best part of someone's day? How can we just lift people up a little bit? And that's mental health, you know? Like, the biggest problem for me, Lana, that I see when people are like, I want to talk about mental health, Oli, how do I do this? And I'm like, just talk about your sleep. Talk about the thing you're stressed about. Talk about how you like bump your head. Talk about the little stuff. Mental health doesn't have to be this big, heavy thing. Like, you asked about like physical health and mental health, right? Like, we wouldn't think twice about talking about how we're having a headache or we got a cold or something like that. Mental health is the same. It's the stuff it's about your relationships, it's about your thoughts, it's about how you're feeling, it's about all that sort of stuff. Just slip it in as you would the other stuff. It doesn't have to be a big, heavy thing.
Yeah, Dr. Ali has a really great quote that whenever I say it when I speak for mental health events, everyone's like, oh my God. So he says this quote that share your scars, not your wounds, when you're thinking about, sharing your story on mental health. So I just want to shout him out for that because everyone always comments on that quote.
I got that quote from someone at the Moth Storytelling. She taught me that. So.
Oh, wow. I thought it was the mall at first. I was like,
at the mall,
some guy at the kiosk came up to you. He's like, hey, share your scars, not your wounds.
Yeah.
So, what is something that all of you know now as a content creator about taking care of yourself that you didn't know 4 to 5 years ago? I got y'all, didn't I, with that question?
Say that one more time.
So what's something you know now that you probably didn't know, a couple of years ago about taking care of yourself that you're like, if I was first starting out, I would be better taking care of myself this way?
I can try and answer that. I would say like what I've learned now is the better that I take care of myself mentally, physically, spiritually, the better the content is. I think that there's when you first start out, there's like this hunger, there's like a drive of like getting out of a position. At least I can speak for myself. Like I was like, man, I gotta make it because like this could change my life, my family's life, etc. And then you use that as like the fuel for creating. And then if something starts to work, you can kind of lose yourself in that because you are in pursuit of that, I guess what you would call it, thriving lifestyle versus like surviving, right? And once you get there and you realize like, okay, I've been doing this thing because it's been working and it's been fueling me, but like when I look in the mirror, I'm not really recognizing who I am anymore, and it starts to feel like, was it even worth it, And truly, I think that goes back to what I was saying before about the mind and I'm gonna just say the ego for sake of conversation will try to play tricks on you and be like, well, I mean, yeah, like what were you 4 years ago? Like, was it better? Was it not better? Like, were you more successful? And, are you done? Like, is it finished? And, all those kind of conversations are out of fear too. It almost feels like it's the mind's way of being like, bro, you got to keep going. Cause like, we've gotten this far off this when really like, if I just took a step back, which I've actually been doing recently, I'd say that's probably been like my most biggest project as of late is just working on my own self and being able to step back and be like, you know what, let's get a workout in just so we can feel something real, wake up sore, let me drink some water so that I'm not battery acid in the toilet, bro. It's like, oh, okay, I'm getting healthy, you know what I'm saying? Let me maybe open this Bible again and read some scriptures and try and get some hope back in my life, and then you start doing that more and more. And you start to realize like life is so much bigger than like whatever we think it is in that moment. And like, again, at that time it was content. But when you step back and you just you allow yourself to feel again and like be in the moment and just really enjoy what you do, like it really had me being like, bro, I need to take a break from this so that I can start answering the questions that can make me recognize myself again. And then from that, it's like, oh, okay, it's been me all along. Like, you know what I'm saying? The conversations that I was having to myself it didn't really matter, because like the whole time I'm still just been living, you know? I still been waking up every day. Any conversation, any doubt, anything that was keeping me from posting, it's like, I really had to like quiet some voices for me to be like, oh, like this is way easier than I thought. Because it is just showing up. It is just doing what makes you happy. And yeah, so I guess in all that, I would just say, like, what I've learned is by prioritizing me, I can then pour into others and pour into things that I'm doing. Because, you know, you will run yourself dry chasing something. I'll say it like this, right? I was like struggling with holding on to like certain ideas, when really the question was, what will happen if I let this go? Instead of thinking like, well, if I don't let it go, what if everything just breaks, right? And that answer was way scarier than like, let me just let go and see what can happen. And I let go, I started working on y'all get it.
We love it. We're all engaged.
I wanted to add on to that, because that's everything you just said, chiming into, it was just one line that I kept hearing, and I was like, if only he says it out loud, because when you hear the words and it actually sinks in and they're like, wow, we're all in sync, and I know that sounds weird. We all kind of think the same, but it's until we put the actions to what we think. But I say all of that to say, the thoughts in our heads overcloud a lot, and a lot of our anxiety does come from other people's thoughts, or what we assume they're thinking. So I always say communication is key, because if you have the balls to say, hey, I'm thinking this, don't immediately judge. I'm thinking this and I want to confirm, are you thinking this? Communication is key. But it all comes down to living for you. So don't think being selfish sometimes is a bad thing. If you have a headache and you really can't get up, unfortunately, take that break. If you have a goal, but your friend has a goal, and you genuinely want to get yours done, cahoots, have a conversation, because then assumption comes into play. Like I said, anxiety comes from a lot of thoughts of thinking people are against us, or you know, just health things. It's a lot, but it all comes down to communication and just understanding. So one thing I know now is know my truth and keep moving in that, and it lessens the anxiety in rooms. Know your truth. Yes, that's it.
Yes, you can clap for it. I was going to say, Ali, when they were speaking, I was thinking of something, and I'm curious to see what you and Swoozie are going to say, but I was thinking of this mental health pillow that says, these are feelings, not facts. When you're thinking, it's like, those are just thoughts, but they're not facts. And I validate those feelings, but I know that they're not the ultimate truth. They're just what I'm feeling. So, sorry, go ahead, Swoozie.
To build off of you and everybody else's comments, a lot of time we are our own worst enemy. Now, in some of our cases, our parents didn't help that out. Our parents said, you can't do this, you can't do that, and this is what you need to do. Your parents are going to tell you, you need to be a doctor, you need to be this, you need to go to school, you need to do this. I was almost on that train to do everything my parents told me to do, until I realized I have to live with me every day of my life. I don't have to live with you. Could die tomorrow. I hope you don't, Mom and Dad. But let's pretend I go off to study how to be a doctor and you die tomorrow and I'm in this debt now because I was trying to please you. That's a whole lot of stress on my brain that I started out with. I had a really hard conversation. I'm not gonna do what you want me to do. Thank you for getting me here, but I have to live with me every single day of my life. So I want to animate, so I'm gonna go off and do that. And especially for a lot of you guys who want to get into this space, when we tell our parents, hey, I want to make content for the rest of our lives, you know how they reacted. They don't get that world. They know, get somebody pregnant, go to school, get in debt, and live like that miserably. No, I don't see that life for myself. And you can start off on a whole branch of decisions because of that one thing. I'm trying to please my parents. So that whole thing is right there. Anxiety, a lot of times, is ourself just making up things. We're future tripping on stuff that hasn't even happened. Exactly. So you have to understand, sometimes that negative self-dialogue is that self-sabotage. And I have a lot of people who are professional self-saboteurs. And you could be one of those people and not realize it. So understand, when that negative inner dialogue starts yapping, shut it up. Because some of us will start down this vlogging, start down this content, and be like, you know what? I'm never gonna make it, I'll stop. I quit YouTube before I made my first video. and I quit for 2 hours. And I'm like, F this noise, I'm gonna do this. And other people will tell you, you can't do this, you can't do that, because they're putting their limitations on you. So you've got your inner dialogue, you've got your friends in dialogue telling them that they can't do it, so you can't do it. You have all this negativity out here. What I told myself is no one can stop you but you. So when you start shutting up that anxiety, hey, you could do this and this might crack, no. To add on to what they were saying too, a lot of you who flew here? Okay, when you were on that plane, what they tell you on the PA is, if we lose cabin pressure, put on your mask first before you try to help anybody else. So that's another thing too. Some of y'all have kids, some of y'all have people that rely on you. You cannot help them if you're done. Put your mask on first. If you don't remember anything else I say up here, put your mask on first before you try to help anybody else. Because you can't help them if you're passed out in your seat. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of it, for me at least, was, yeah, you know what, I would make YouTube, but my ex is gonna make fun of me. Had I stuck with that, y'all wouldn't know me. I would not be sitting up here. But I told myself, you know what, no, I'm gonna let my parents talk like that. I'm gonna let the haters talk like that. And I'm gonna show them exactly what I can and can't do.
Lana, can I add one? I wanted to bounce off of you before we went. It'll be super quick, or just go straight to go.
Yeah. But you whatever you guys want.
No, go for it.
Let y'all talk.
I'm gonna quickly bounce off of it because he said something and it like triggered me, and that's a real thing. Like triggers and like things that happen, and that's all mental health. Being aware of like the triggers. When you said, you know, my mom and dad stopped me from trigger. Mom and dad. Everybody got mom and dads. Some people don't. I have no mom and dad. And not, a lot of people know that in my industry because I have it in one of my songs. But I grew up in foster care, so I had to live life a whole different way. So I don't know if there are anybody in foster care was adopted in this room. Boom, I already boom understand, and that's a whole different mental health capability of thing you have to go through because the system failed you. So now you live in life on your own accord, and you're doing it for you, not even for anybody else. So now you really got to get up and put the work in. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say, being aware of all of that is a whole nother thing. So that just wanted to add on to that. But, yeah.
I feel like when I was on my first date with my girlfriend, now wife, I asked her what's her biggest fear, and she's like, you know, not reaching my full potential. And then she's like, what about your biggest fear, Ellie? And I was like, spiders. Kind of feel like that right now, because my answer to your question was going to be comments. And like, don't worry about the comments too much.
That's valid.
But yeah, it's not the deep philosophy that everyone else just shared. But I was gonna say, I worried a lot about what other people think. And I would look at all the comments and just kind of get stuck in it. And I don't do anymore. Now what I do is like, I know when I first publish something, like the people who are commenting are like my like biggest supporters. They've been there the whole time. I make sure I always respond to them like the first few hours. I check the first day. And then kind of after that, then like people who start flowing in are people who are like, you know, the algorithm's kind of pushing to, and a lot of that hate that comes up, a lot of like the racism, all that stuff, it kind of comes up there, and I try not to like focus on that too much. So that was my answer to this question. Yeah,
that's a valid one. I feel like that's my advice to creators. I'm like, don't worry about the comments. Find the good ones, screenshot them, save them in a folder, and look at them.
That I do.
You know, on days when you're feeling down.
So I've got like a I don't know what I call it, but I have this like this folder where I screenshot every nice comment and like every email and every message, DM that I get that's like reminds me of the impact of why I'm doing this stuff, and I keep it and I look at it on those down days.
Any negative comment I get, I just imagine it's like a 12-year-old. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, man, get your little ass on, bro.
Mute this user.
My take on the comments is one thing I realized, I don't know if y'all agree with this, when you get a crap ton of negative comments or for something, if you have the right fan base, they're going to fight for you.
Yep.
Don't talk, let them fight. Because if you do it, then they're going to screenshot you and you're going to look bad on later. Yep. Don't talk. Let people talk for you because they know who you are. That's it.
I feel like I've seen people in all y'all's comments fighting people all the time. As soon as they say
Shout out
something
to y'all.
negative, everybody's like jumping on them in the comments. I think when I first got a chance, because I watched Berleezy for a long time, but when I first got a chance to meet him, I asked him about the comments. I was like, how do you feel about when people are like, man, I broke my leg, but watching you, I'm so glad you uploaded again. And he was like, oh, I just assumed it's 12. I think he said the same thing.
Absolutely. Why are you bringing that up? No, my ankles is straight.
All right, so I think we're getting near the end. So if you had one piece of advice to give content creators about, you know, how to handle the pressures of being a content creator, what would that be?
I would say, allow yourself the freedom to evolve, bro. I think sometimes content creation can feel like putting on a character or a mask, and sure, right? But also, you don't want to get lost in the mask. You don't want it to be like Jim Carrey mask. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't take it off. You know what I'm saying? You want it to feel like, oh, this is almost like it evokes something in me that makes me happy to do this. It's like an energy thing. It's like, oh, I'm allowed to be myself here, and this is who I truly am. But if that's not you anymore, then like, allow yourself the grace to be who you're supposed to be now. And that might take taking a break. You know what I'm saying? That might take stepping away for a little bit. That might take switching up the content in general. It might take trying a couple things to see how it feels. I would also agree, don't get caught up in the views as you're going through that, because on the other side of it is a version of you that you probably needed to be anyway, and you don't want to sacrifice that opportunity for the sake of like views and likes and subscribers, because I'm telling you don't want to get to a place where it's hard to recognize who you are. And that's what I would suggest everybody to do, is just allow yourself the grace. If something don't feel good, don't do it. If something feels great or it's speaking to you and you're scared to try it, bro, just give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Just try it. And yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. I think the digital footprint is real. So you got to remember what you put online now, you know, is going to follow you for the next 5 to 10 years for sure.
Bouncing on both of y'all, I'm gonna say something for what both of y'all said. When Berlin was talking about the views and don't get caught up, I'm gonna say, how do I even say this? Can I get a Just making sure y'all listening. I know they're getting crazy back there, but I was gonna thank y'all. I was gonna say intent with content and intent in reality. Because outside of content, we're still people outside of the content we make, and it merges. Some of it could be sarcasm, some of it could be, you know, art. But intent is a real thing. What is your intention? If the intention is to get views, 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna get it. If your intent is to rage bait, you might get the views because you're baiting rage. You get what I'm saying? Remember your intent with the content you make and in life, because it's a real thing. It's gonna backfire. You're gonna meet those people one day who are viewing your video, and they're gonna stop you and have a conversation. What you gonna say to them? You know? And then Lana, you did say something. You said something, Lana. You said something right before I bounced it.
I said the digital footprint is real. What you're gonna make is gonna be here for the next 5 to 10 years.
Digital footprint. I just auditioned for Beast Games. They got back to me and said, Lizzie, we gotta do a digital footprint, what do you call that? Inspection.
Yeah.
They literally grabbed my profile. I have a song called Fuck Shit. Part of my fridge. Can I can't curse here. Shit. Fuck.
FS.
You know what I'm saying. FS. I have a song called FS, and when I tell you every video, every clip, every time I put that on my page, they put it as a, not cursing, what's the other word for cursing? Profanity. I have 45 profanity accounts on my digital footprint. And I sent it to somebody I know in the industry. He said, Lizzie, 45 really ain't bad. Mine's got over 300. Like, they have this thing where they can take your profile. Say if Disney wanted to hire you and you don't even know it. You don't know who's viewing your content. They will literally take your profile without your permission, put put it in their dialogue and see how many profanity accounts you have. That's from caption, that's from what you're doing in the video, if your boobs are showing and stuff. They can look at all of that if you didn't know. So I say all that to say, be aware of your intention with your content. Because I could go back to them and send an email, hey, it was a song, if you need me to take it down, let me know. But 9 times out of 10, people are not going to tell you what they're thinking unless you ask. That goes into communication. But I'm going to pass it on to Susie.
That's very good. So, vetting is what I've been told that is. When YouTube and the White House first reached out about the Obama collab, they first told me, hey, okay, so are you free on January 16th? Cool, yeah, I can't tell you why. We'll be back in a few weeks. Come back. All right, still cool? Cool. 3 rounds of emails. Finally was like, all right, dude, you're gonna meet Obama. Here's what happened. We started with a pool of 5,000 people. And we vetted them, all of them. Then it got down to 500, vetted all of them. So imagine like a game of Fortnite, where it's your channel going up against everybody else's channel and you have no idea. And they are vetting every single word that's come out of your mouth. And when I'm in my bedroom by myself, coming up with ideas and animating, I had no idea that 10 years from now, that my channel is going to be playing Fortnite or Street Fighter up against 5,000 other people to meet the president. And then when it got down to 5, 10, 3, you, they were telling me when I got to the White House, like, dude, you were a dream. Like, you don't curse, you don't talk about sexually explicit, this, that, it's positive. Like, literally, you checked every single box in the green. And we've had people that we've invited to the White House, they get to the front yard and we have to tell them, can't come in, bro. We found that you did this with this and we can't. So always keep in mind that you're leaving that digital footprint and you have no idea. A lot's going on. I'm forgetting a lot of what you were going to say because she wrapped me up with this the vetting process. No, you're good. So I might jump in after you if it comes back to me, but you can take it, bro.
So I want to jump in on the like evolving who you are and not being afraid to do that. So what I'm going to say is like, it's okay if you don't have all the answers, especially if you're talking about mental health stuff. So when I got started making content, I was like, oh man, I need to stuff these videos as like an educational creator. I need to stuff it with facts and knowledge and frameworks and how-tos and this and that. And like those videos really sucked. Like people weren't watching them. I mean, some people were, but I've leaned more into like storytelling and talking about my experiences, and the thing I've learned is what my community most appreciates is when I tell a story that gives them words to understand their own experiences, and they always put that in the comments. Like, oh my gosh, this really helped me to understand how I'm experiencing this. Thank you for telling your story. So I see myself more as a storyteller now than as an educator, and that just came from me trying to better understand how I have that impact on the world. So if you want to make like mental health kind of content and you feel like, but I don't know, I don't have the answers of like what people should do, that's okay. Just tell your story and you don't have to have all the answers, and just kind of see where that journey takes you.
I remembered.
The advice, yes.
Short, I promise. Don't keep doing the same thing expecting different results. I have friends who have been streaming for 10 years. You watch their stream tomorrow, they're gonna have 3 people in it. They're doing the same thing expecting, if I just keep grinding, I'm gonna blow up. No. You wouldn't sit here and watch me play Fall Guys for 15 hours if I'm just sitting here playing Fall Guys. Make something different about what you're doing. If you streamed for a month and you only have 10 people, what can you do to get to 20? There's something you can add to that pot. We're all cooks, every single one of us. We're adding ingredients to that pot to make it taste a little bit better. Add a little bit more salt next week. Add a little bit more oregano next week. Because if you're doing the same thing, just thinking, oh, I'm gonna blow, no. I have a friend who rushes home after every day of filming content to edit his vlog for his daily vlogs, has 19 views every single video, and he won't listen to anything I have to say. If you're gonna do something, understand, here's the reaction, all right? And you change it up next time. If everything you're doing, you're constantly making your videos better and better and better, eventually it's gonna hit. You have to understand, I can't just keep doing this because 10 years from now, I'm gonna have 3 people watching my stream and 9 people watching my videos. So keep changing it up. There's that ego in place. It's because it's me, this is why I'm gonna share it. You might be making boring videos. I was making boring videos for a long time. What can you do to make this video pop if you weren't in it? So understand that, and I will say something that really helped me is learn how to play chess. Because life is chess. And the better I became as a chess player, the better I became at just making life decisions. You start seeing you have an opponent actively coming against you. In life, you don't necessarily have that. So when you get good at chess, also pay attention though, because a lot of chess grandmasters go crazy too. There's something about it. Understand how to play chess really well, understand life. Don't keep doing the same thing expecting different results.
All right, well, I'm gonna add on to that before I close out. Thank you, Swoozie. I will say what Swoozie said about staying the same is like YouTube, social media in general, it changes. Just like we change our clothes, just like trends come and go. YouTube's always changing like that. So think about that, like Swoozie said, when you're making your content, that you always have to be evolving too. I want to thank all of you for being up here and saying yes and taking time out of y'all busy Dreamcon schedules and just having this conversation. So I want to thank you. I also want to say that YouTube, we love taking care of you. We actually have the Creator Safety Center with tons of resources to get, find like mental health organizations, and we have a guide for tips on taking a break called Press Pause. So thank you, Berlin, Lizzie, Swoozie, Dr. Ali. Dr. Ali is going to stick around to have conversations with you, possibly Swoozie. I don't know about Berlin and Lizzie because I know they got to go. Lizzie's got to perform, so check out her performance. Don't know what Berlizzi's up to, but thank you so much. Thank you guys, and happy Mental Health Awareness Month.